Well, a very good evening to you. This is Peter Drury with Stuart Robson, and this is the Fritz Walter Stadion in Kaiserslautern, southwest Germany, where tonight the world champions seek to fine-tune themselves in preparation for their ongoing campaign in Europe, and they do so against the newly crowned champions of Asia. On either side there is room for experimentation, and there is room for the tried and trusted. Willi Jedinak skippers Australia with appetite this evening, given that he is currently serving a domestic ban with Crystal Palace, and across the corridor from him it is Sami Khedira who wears the armband for the Germans. There had been much talk of Bastian Schweinsteiger's return to the national 11 for the first time since the World Cup final, but he waits his turn on the bench. It is a German 11 which has some echoes of the World Cup final, but much change as well. And could world football come up with a more joyous fixture right now? The planet's very best, Germany, launched their post-World Cup year just as Australia launched themselves on the world as the newly crowned kings of their footballing continent. Of Mainz, Joachim Löw, who has achieved the ultimate accolade as a national coach, and Ange Postecoglou, who has a lot of credit among Socceroos supporters now as well, after what occurred in Sydney 53 nights ago.
Hat uns für immer verlassen.
We are going to have a minute's silence prior to the anthems for the recently deceased German national star Wolfram Woodke.
299 Bundesligaspiele, 66 Tore, 4 A-Länderspiele und der 3. Platz, also Bronze bei Olympia 1988 in Seoul, das war Wutti. Eine echte Type ist nicht mehr unter uns. Wir gedenken Wolfram Woodke mit einer Schweigeminute. Liebe Fußballfreunde, wir danken Ihnen. Meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, wir bitten nun um Aufmerksamkeit für die Nationalhymnen, gespielt von der Deutschen Staatsphilharmonie Rheinland-Pfalz. Und selbstverständlich beginnen wir bei unseren Gästen. Hier kommt die Hymne Australiens.
Und nun, liebe Fußballfans, singen wir gemeinsam die deutsche Nationalhymne.
Two of the best in the world. And there is the best football team in the world. It's 4 years since the last of the 4 previous meetings between these nations. Recent enough for the Socceroos to remember that they won in Mönchengladbach that time. Germany beat them the other 3 times, thumpingly and notably in Durban at World Cup 2010. And if Germans and Australians are asked to name the nation with which they enjoy the greatest sporting rivalry, many, of course, from both sides will reply England. So referee Michael Oliver is an interesting addition to the mix. He did have charge of Germany's first friendly of the last calendar year against Chile in Stuttgart. The weekend just gone, he had charge of Hull City against Chelsea in the Premier League. Recently sent off Angel Di Maria at Old Trafford in an FA Cup tie. Will be familiar, of course, mostly to Mile Jedinak, who will have seen him in Premier League action. Assistant Stuart Burt and Peter Kirkup. Hervedez will be, we anticipate, the central of the 3 German stoppers, Mustafi and Badstuber on either side. And now the players are going to reassemble because, of course, all of Germany has come together these last few awful hours to remember those who died in the terrible plane tragedy over the French Alps.
Liebe Fußballfamilie, eine furchtbare Katastrophe bewegt und erschüttert uns alle. Der gestrige Flugzeugabsturz in den französischen Alpen mit vielen Deutschen und auch Australiern unter den Opfern ist eine schreckliche Tragödie, die auch im Deutschen Fußballbund und seiner Nationalmannschaft Trauer und Bestürzung ausgelöst hat. In stiller Anteilnahme gedenken wir den Opfern. Unser Mitgefühl gilt ihren Familien. Wir sagen herzlichen Dank.
So arbitrary and so awful. And so the start, in Europe at least, of a new international calendar year. Germany 2015 cannot hope to match 2014, but it's all about being right for 2016. For Australia, this is already their year of years. The first time champions of Asia, for whom in a couple of months' time the long road to Russia 2018 will begin. For the Aussies, the start of a brand new cycle, and a slightly premature start, so they'll go again. 5th meeting of Germany and Australia, 2 grand and proud sporting nations who have met at a World Cup finals before, a Confederations Cup before. Both have qualified for the next Confederations Cup already because of their deeds over the last year and indeed over the last month. Germany's target, of course, Stuart, readiness for their qualifier against Georgia in a few days' time.
Yeah, but they still want to put in a good performance here, just to get their confidence. They haven't played particularly well since the World Cup. He's the man of the moment in Australia, Postecoglou. Ange Postecoglou did a brilliant job in winning the Asian Cup.
And the Australians are right onto the attack here with Nathan Burns. It came back into the path of Milligan. Here's Troisi. Outside of him is the West Bromwich Albion left-sider Davidson, who's got smartly away from Bellarabi. And Australia have the first corner.
It was almost a big chance for Burns. They tried to squeeze up. We don't often see Germany play with the back three. Tried to squeeze up. Whoever it is.
Lifted in by Mackay. Headed some way wide by Matthew Leckie, who's the one player in the Australian side most likely to be familiar with his surroundings, playing as he does in Bundesliga 2 with Ingolstadt 04, who actually lead that league by a point or so from Kaiserslautern, on whose ground he plays now. Those are the top two teams vying for promotion into next season's Bundesliga, and extraordinarily they meet on the final day of this season. So when he's next on this ground, Leckie, there's a good chance that the game will count for an awful lot, as it does in another sense now. Ron-Robert Zieler keeps goal for Germany tonight in the absence of Manuel Neuer, who has a knee problem. Roman Weidenfeller sits it out at least to start with. Here is Bellarabi. Turns his back off Davidson. Comes to Özil. Khedira caught on it. And here is Leckie, who's quite a unit and has Burns in advance of him. And Milligan here supporting. Jedinak. Franjic from right full-back. There's a debutant centre-half alongside Wilkinson there in the blue boots in Luc de Veer, wearing 24, look out for him. 25-year-old who plays for Brisbane Roar in the A-League.
Straight away, Australia aren't going to let Germany play out from the back. Front three squeezing up on the back three of Germany. Zieler's going to have to go long. Royce and Goetze aren't the sort of players that really want to go and head the ball.
Here's Milligan been notably involved inside the first 3 minutes, prompting from midfield. Mustafi, that's a poor giveaway as well. Low tempo start from Germany. Davidson, Troisi. Crashed into by Khedira. Touch for Bellarabi. Here's Khedira again. Great privilege for him to captain the side this evening.
He's got an important role, Khedira, as the holding midfield player. Should allow the wing-backs to get forward. Hector down the left-hand side, Bellarabi down the right. He's got to keep switching the play, as he's done there.
Done by Goetze. He's kept his run going and is worrying Franjic. Franjic just about got a job done. There's Hector and Royce and Goetze again. Gundogan. Hector. Sliced rather uncertainly behind by Alex Wilkinson. And Germany have their first corner.
There's a new centre-half partnership, De Veer and Wilkinson for Australia. So from Sainsbury and Spiranovic, the two centre-halves. Done such a good job over recent matches.
Royce. Royce punched out by Ryan. Belted goal by Badstuber. And then fired wide from a fair distance out and through a not inconsiderable crowd.
Good short corner. I'm sure it was the best punch from Ryan to start with. And then the last shot comes in, almost trying to bend it into the far corner. Gundogan. Ryan probably had it covered. Highly regarded goalkeeper. Australian Ryan.
Of course, the successor long-term in the Australian goal to Mark Schwarzer, who was a great personal hero of his and who came to English football, Schwarzer, from Kaiserslautern, where this game is taking place. As Stuart rightly implies, a man whose reputation soared during the Asian Cup, through which he played every minute.
He was linked with Liverpool not so long ago. Bruges goalkeeper. They're doing very well in the Europa League at the moment.
Absolutely right. I was going to make that very point. Talking of goalkeepers, there's probably the best of them all. Now Manuel Neuer, who you would anticipate will be back between the sticks for Germany in Tbilisi on Sunday. Bruges knocked out Besiktas in the last round and faced Dnipro in the quarter-finals of the Europa League, as well as being top of their domestic league. Gundogan got out of trouble. Hector, full debut for Germany tonight. He played 20-odd minutes against Gibraltar before Christmas. This Khedira, Mustafi.
Well, key to how Germany play here will be the wing-backs. How high they get up the field, how Australia try and deal with them. Whether the full-backs push right on.
There's Milligan. Burns. Franjic. Giving back to Royce. Shifted hurriedly forward for Goetze. Royce has gone beyond him. Franjic tackling back. Goetze kept on going. Jedinak tidied up. It's an unkind back pass that Ryan had to deal with from De Veer. Davidson's in a tight corner.
There is the goalkeeper that we're talking about, Neuer. As you said, probably the best in the world at the moment. Certainly their medium in Tbilisi. Germany haven't had a great start to their European campaign.
Well, they're not top of Group D. They're second behind Poland, level on points with Scotland and the Republic of Ireland. Having, of course, just beaten Scotland, and I do mean only just, in their opening game. Having then lost in Poland. Being held to a draw at home by Ireland, and finally brushed aside Gibraltar. And I say brushed aside, they only beat them 4-0. That was a cause for some dissatisfaction. As it happens, of course, the format for European Championship qualifying this time round is a very forgiving one for the major nations. Top two teams in every group go through, and the third goes into a playoff. So for a nation as strong as Germany, it's almost unfeasible that they won't qualify. Under pressure again here from Leckie, who's done really well here, Leckie, and scraped it right across the face. Perhaps anticipating that Burns would be more committed to getting a touch at the far post.
Well, I thought Leckie had a great World Cup. Didn't do quite so well at the Asian Cup. That's what he does as the centre-forward on this occasion, running down the side of the defender. He's onside. It's a good ball played. Herbert is struggling to catch him up. Threatens to shoot with his left, threatens to shoot with his right. I think he's going for a goal, but he really has to attack the ball at the far post, Burns. Just stood still at the wrong moment. Excellent play from Matthew Leckie, who, when he's running, not so good with his back to goal, but when he's running forward, is a really good player.
His club, Ingolstadt, as well, I'm sure a lot of football fans around our country wouldn't be familiar with. It's one that lives in the shadow of Bayern Munich. It's a Bavarian club. The suburbs of Munich, smaller even than 1860 in terms of history and supporter base, but on the cusp of a place in the Bundesliga, which indeed to play twice against Bayern Munich will be a great thrill for those parochial supporters. Leckie would hope to be part of that. Forward by Gundogan. Decent chase by Hector. The Cologne left-back.
If you're going to play with a back three, you have to get your wing-backs high up the field. They have to be a real threat. Good run from Hector.
Another German corner, 10 minutes in. Chervedez is manoeuvring himself around the penalty area. Header away is by Franjic. Putting further pressure on Ivan Franjic, who plays his club football with Torpedo Moscow in Russia. Barely played at all since the Asia Cup because of a thigh problem. Goetze. By Gundogan. Smuggled away by Mackay.
Nowhere for Burns to go on that occasion. Leckie had dropped deep and tried to make a forward run. Wasn't able to see him, Burns. It's good to see they're going to come here and they're going to try and press Germany all around the field. Not just going to sit deep. Front three are going to press the back three of Germany.
Mustafi's throw. Badstuber away from Burns. Bellarabi is offside.
That's what I was talking about earlier. Leckie with his back to goal. Not a great touch from him.
Bellarabi for Ozil of Arsenal. Khedira. Mustafi. Wasn't kept in by Bellarabi. Good season with the Bayer Leverkusen. Made his national debut against Poland in October. 12 goals for Bayer Leverkusen this season, Karim Bellarabi. Dashing in from wide, as he might anticipate doing tonight. Milligan. Leckie. Davidson. Mackay. Followed in by Bellarabi.
Certainly got plenty of pace down the right-hand side. Bellarabi.
Mackay's cross, and that was a clear-headed chance for Nathan Burns.
Well, they're missing a big player in that penalty box, Australia. So often when crosses come in, Tim Cahill is in between defenders, getting his header on target. Let's just switch off here, Germany. Really good cross coming into the box from Mackay. Should do a lot better, Burns.
You'd expect him to, given the form he's in. Nathan Burns of Wellington Phoenix, who are right at the top of the A-League at the moment. He has 13 of their goals. He's scored in his last 3 A-League games. It's a Melbourne victory against Adelaide and at Brisbane as recently as Monday. Perhaps the poor guy still not quite sure what time it is. It's quite a quick turnaround for the Australian-based players in terms of jet lag and re-acclimatisation. Royce over the top by Gundogan. Royce is onside here and was denied the chance to roll it back across by Luc de Veer. By Burns. Leckie is quick here. Quicker in the first instance than Hervedez. It's Leckie's cross aimed at Davidson, galloping forward from left back.
Well, either Leckie's very quick or Hervedez was treading in treacle there. Really was struggling in the centre half. Here's the chance up the other end. Royce with a good first touch. Just trying to cut it back. He has 2 goes at it. Ryan gets the second block in. He got the first, but that's what he can do. Royce can run beyond people. Great pace. A good understanding with Goetze here.
Here is Mario Goetze. He of the ultimate goal. It's a good square ball as well, and a very promising opening for Germany, which was rather wasted in the end by Hector, who didn't catch his shot pure.
What a brilliant pass it was from Goetze. Kicking out. Left wing back on the far side of the field. Just comes off the inside of his foot rather than his laces. It's good counter-attacking football so far. First 15 minutes.
Well, that's a terrible giveaway though by de Veer. And here's Ozil. And it's touched in for a German opener, except that the flag is up against Royce, and he knew it. He knew it. It was an instinctive twitch within a yard or 2 of the line, but he expected to see the flag and he wasn't let down.
Yeah, I think it was probably just about going wide. The shot, and the play with the shot. Royce offside. The player that will be relieved about that will be the centre-half De Vere, who gave the header away straight to Ozil.
Morganson's header down, came to Franjic. Jedinak. Khedira claims with real purpose. Royce has dashed ahead of him. Khedira, Royce, that counts! Beautifully smooth finish, and Germany have their lead. Immaculately timed run from Marco Reus, who just had to apply a touch to an immaculately weighted return pass, and the world champions are in front.
Well, that's what we haven't seen from Khedira for quite some while after his injury. Winning the ball in midfield, driving past Jedinak. Driving past the fullback as well, and he just times the run with the outside of his boot. He's just onside. Really good pass. Ryan's just coming out that little bit deeper. Once he gets the early touch, here's the pass. It's the run to start with from Khedira, the pass with the outside of the foot, and the well-timed run from Marco Reus. Really good goal from Germany, and again, a counter-attack performed with brilliance.
Just so impressive to see the way Reus offloads the ball, demands of Khedira exactly where and when he wants it back. Khedira's ability to deliver, and Reus's certainty of finish.
There's been question marks about Khedira's dynamism since he had that injury 18 months ago, but that was more like it.
He's played very little football of late, Stuart. As you know, he played the best part of an hour in that crazy Real Madrid Schalke Champions League second leg game, which Schalke won 4-3 but went out of the competition. But that's the only football he's played since right at the beginning of February because of a thigh injury, so he'll be glad to get some minutes under his belt here internationally.
He's going to find it harder and harder to get into the Real Madrid side as well, isn't he? Tony Kroos, his compatriot, going there. He's playing in that holding midfield role.
Reus lifted the crowd in a stadium which hosted some memorable games at the 2006 World Cup, not the least of which was Australia's first ever World Cup win when they beat Japan here. Tim Cahill scored a couple of goals on that occasion. Australia also went out of the competition here at Kaiserslautern to a late and very, very contentious Totti penalty for Italy. Being here for Italy against the USA. Massive, passionate crowd because this is a big US military town. Flag has stayed down. Goetze. No problem with the challenge on Ozil. Jedinak.
You see what he was looking to do. Again, they were trying to squeeze up. To play a high offside line, Germany. Then he tried to bend the ball round the outside of that Stuver. Another good run from Goetze. Just broke that offside line before playing it to Ozil.
Mackay. Davidson. Neatly away from Bellarabi, but not from Shkodran Mustafi. Free kick for Germany, so let's alert you to what's upcoming when the internationals are over. We're back in the German league, the Bundesliga, over our Easter weekender on Easter Eve from 5 o'clock on BT Sport 2. We've got one of these standout games in any German season, Borussia Dortmund on the comeback against Bayern Munich right at the top. And then on Easter Sunday itself from 2:30, two of the top six, Augsburg against Schalke, also BT Sport 1. Goetze for Reus. Faced by De Vere. Gundogan. Reus. Goetze. Gundogan. Hector. Ozil, offside.
Oh, the front two are really working well together at the moment, Royce and Goetze. Ozil trying to make forward runs. Here's the goal again. Khedira, full of pace, full of aggression, and just the composure with the outside of the right boot, playing it into the path of Royce. Maybe Ryan made his dive a little bit too early. He was anticipating that Royce was going to miss the ball completely.
Marco Reus, an 8th international goal, which is a pretty good return, winning his 24th cap, 1 in 3, playing the position he does. That's impressive. And it's his first for a couple of years, actually. Scored since getting 2 against Kazakhstan in March of 2013. Jedinak, that's a dreadful giveaway, and Royce is in here. And his finish was surprisingly uncertain. Almost too much time to think about it.
Well, Jedinak gave the ball away when Khedira raced through to lay on the first goal. Here he gives the ball, he goes in between the centre-halves, telegraphs the pass. He tried to be too clever. He's got to go across the goalkeeper. There wasn't really the space down the near post. Schweinsteiger probably feels he chose the wrong option on that occasion.
To say, it doesn't look an especially pressured German bench, does it? Here to enjoy the evening. Serious business is in Tbilisi on Sunday. They're clearly a group of players who enjoy each other's company, but who also expect to win. That's what being the world champions does for you. Ozil. Bellarabi. That's not a problem for Ryan either.
Well, first chance we've seen of Bellarabi to run with the ball in the top third of the field. Didn't make the most of that situation. So just giving them a bit more down the left-hand side. A really poor start to the game from Jedinak. 2 really bad passes. One conceded the goal. The one should have done.
After a relatively promising first couple of minutes for Australia, the adrenaline was pumping. They have been confined for the most part to their own half. Wilkinson in long at Leckie. Fancies himself pace for pace with Mustafi, but Mustafi can clear. He's got 1, should have 2, still cursing himself. Pretty good scoring year for Dortmund. Not a great scoring year for Lukas Podolski, still to break his duck with Inter since leaving North London for Milan. Might get a chance later. Needs 1 more to become on his own the 3rd highest scorer for Germany of all time. And he might well see this as a golden chance to do it. Game against, as I'll be speaking, humble opponents. Mine, everyone's humble compared to Germany at the moment.
Big game for Mesut Ozil in midfield. Always seen eye to eye with the German fans in recent times. Like the Arsenal fans, sometimes believe that he slows the game down a little bit too much, but he's on his day. A brilliant passer of the ball, great technician.
It was a great opinion splitter. By Mustafi. Welcomed in by Davidson, who went over Bellarabi. It's an Australian free kick. Of course, very big sporting day in Australia. They will be watching this at breakfast time, pretty early breakfast time at that, ahead of a day which will climax with their Cricket World Cup semi-final. Ozil. We reached Hector. It was lifted off his wrong side, a fair way over by Jonas Hector.
Well, Ozil trying to play the ball out to Hector, didn't quite get it right, but again, as soon as Australia give it away in midfield, they're so vulnerable to the counter-attack. Good movement, Royce Gertz are making runs, taking defenders into bad positions. Ozil tried to pick out the left wing-back who was racing in. Had it intercepted. Not a good finish from Hector. Postecoglou has been praised for his change of style. Australia always believed to be a long ball team, very aggressive. In recent times they've tried to play that little bit more football, play through midfield. Has worked for them. Not today so far.
Mustafi. That's neatly done for Bellarabi. Supported by Mustafi. Twitchily away by De Veer. Now Leckie. Prepared to take on Badstuber. Too much by way of support. Burns. Kai. Jedinak. Lined one up. Decent shot too. And Zila was hurling himself across goal to turn it behind for a corner.
Was a good strike as well, Jedinak. Nobody closes him down. Just dipping and swirling, it's going in the corner. It's an interesting technique. Doesn't try and hit it too hard. He just tries to hit the back of the ball. Starts to dip and swerve in the air. He's certainly struggling for pace against Leckie. So too Herved is. Leckie's been a real threat to them so far.
Deep corner beyond both centre halves. De Veer and Wilkinson climb together. Here's Jedinak. Scattered for Zila, who'll feel good about his save. Hanover, his club, are having a desperate time at the moment, sliding alarmingly down the Bundesliga table. Haven't won any of their last 10 games. No win since Christmas for Hanover. Beaten 3-2 by Borussia Dortmund at the weekend. And he personally hasn't kept a clean sheet since the 16th of December. So now would be a nice time to grab one. Often the way, of course, that a goalkeeper in a struggling side gets noticed. And his form for Hanover through these difficult weeks has been, in a perverse sort of way, a showcase.
In the end, just a bit late there. Good to see him back in the German side in the end. Such a big part in Borussia Dortmund's run to the Champions League a couple of years ago.
Borussia Dortmund, mercifully for their many supporters all over the world, have put themselves back together again since Christmas. Too late to compete in the Bundesliga, but at least to get out of an embarrassing area. And actually, they are sufficiently close now to the top 5 or 6 that, extraordinarily, European football still isn't beyond the realms of possibility. As you saw, they play Bayern next.
There's that pressing again. Have to be careful, Germany. They can't play it out to their centre halves. Play beyond that pressure. There's more space elsewhere on the field.
Bellarabi. By Davidson. No foul on Burns by Mustafi. Whoever it is, oh, Burns got a toe on it, but Zila was in the right spot.
Good pressure again from Australia in midfield. Having not won it, now they're vulnerable to the counter.
Goetze. Franic got a bit of it, enough of it. Jedinak, and now Davidson of West Bromwich Albion. It's a really well-weighted ball. Leckie kept it from Zila, but lost track of it himself.
Well, if there's a problem with Leckie, it's that his final ball, his final shot, sometimes his composure at the end of his run doesn't match the pace of his run and the timing of it. Again, a good run, getting him behind the back three of Germany.
Troisi for Burns. Running at Mustafi. Burns, Troisi. Davidson. Troisi. Davidson flashed across the face, away by Badstuber. Then inexact pass from Khedira. Franic. Wilkinson. Jedinak. Milligan. Davidson. Burns. Jedinak. Being pointed you in the direction of the Bundesliga. We ought to even things up by reminding you of our A-League possibilities this coming weekend. Friday from 8:40 in the morning. On BT Sport 2, it is Melbourne City against Brisbane Roar. That is 6th against 7th. Saturday, I beg your pardon, 8:30 BT Sport 2. City against Brisbane Roar.
What a big chance that was for Leckie when he got played through. Staffy was playing him onside, the right-sided centre-half. Just overran the ball. I think he got caught in two minds whether to play it with the outside of his right boot past the goalkeeper or take him on. It was Mustafi was playing him onside. Looked very vulnerable at the back at times. His back three, not a lot of pace there for Germany. Changed their system over the years. Always played with a back three and a sweeper and two markers. In the 70s, 80s, the early 90s, then changed to a back four for the World Cup here.
Bellarabi. So,
probably one of the last teams to change to a back four for that 2006 World Cup.
Was a wonderfully joyous tournament. Germany so engulfed and developed, embraced that tournament. It's the German team went on to finish third.
It was a team that had little hope going into it. Jürgen Klinsmann pulled everybody together.
Bellarabi, his then assistant and now successor Joachim Löw, has only kicked on since it. Since that 2006 third place, final of Euro 2008, semi-final of World Cup 2010, semi-final Euro 2012, and then World Cup winners 2014. Always in the top four of the major tournaments in that era that began with Klinsmann at home nearly a decade ago now.
Gets got away with it, Ozil. I think may have even been handball by Ozil as he miscontrolled that. He took the free kick from the wrong position. They've got away with everything there, Germany.
Hector. Aimed in by Khedira, rather scratchily behind by Davidson for a corner.
I think Ryan thought about putting his hand on it, then just took it away at the last minute. He's going to throw his hand at it and just takes it away. Comes off the toe of Davidson rather than the inside of his foot. He's been more of a threat down the left-hand side, Hector, than Bellarabi down the right.
Ozil to take. Deep one from Mesut Ozil. Kurtz fancied something round the back. Wasn't to be. Here's Zila. By Jedinak.
Well, this formation at the back for Germany mostly is a back three, but at times it's going to a back four. Quickly swap to that. Hector just comes back into a left back position. Mustafi, who can play right back, just goes that little bit wider.
Slightly perilous back pass from Wilkinson. Ryan made it good. Offloaded by Burns, kept in by Leckie, and then by Davidson. Wins a throw, doesn't get an awful lot of football with his club side, West Bromwich Albion. Jason Davidson hasn't played in the Premier League since August. His last game for West Brom was a League Cup defeat at Bournemouth right at the end of October. Chapel is playing with fire. His clearance worked out okay for Burns. And now Davidson. Through goes Leckie. Zila's read it.
He did need to read it as well, Zila. Another ball played in behind Hervedez. Leckie was going to get onto it. Wasn't quite so comfortable for Ryan up the other end. He's a good shot stopper. He's good when coming for crosses. I'm not quite so sure he's as good a sweeper as the likes of Manuel Neuer and Zila showed there.
Worked by Burns. Thomason cross, very good goal. James Troisi with the header. And Australia all square against the world champions. The man who scored the winner in Sydney barely 50 nights ago has Australia's first goal of their new cycle. Troisi, the hero again.
Troisi does brilliantly. It's just a throw in. Germany don't defend it particularly well, but take nothing away from Burns. That's the perfect left foot cross, just along the 6-yard box. It's too easy for him to get the turn in there. Ozil just allows him to run off of him. But what a good dynamic header it is. Troisi in between two defenders, brave. Good diving header. No real chance for Zila, although he did get a hand to it. And that's what it means for Postecoglou.
You see the man who came off the bench in Sydney 20 minutes before the end of regulation time in place of Robbie Kruse, the Bayer Leverkusen player who's currently injured and unavailable for this game tonight, who came off the bench and won it in extra time against South Korea, having scored previously in the tournament against Kuwait. Now has his 4th international goal and his 3rd in pretty quick order, and his 2nd in successive games.
He's a player that is versatile. He can play as one of the midfield three, can play in a wide area, can play as a second centre forward. That was a really good header from him.
That'll be an irritant for Germany and for their supporters. Tracy, by the way, another who, like the goalkeeper Ryan, plays in Belgium, less successfully at the moment with Zulte Waregem, who are down in 12th in the Belgian league. 8 games without a win. That's not his worry at the moment.
I think his team have played at a slow tempo at times. Germany here. And at half pace. If you play at half pace, you will get caught out. Defensive, they've had balls played in behind them. They've been caught too square on a couple of occasions. They've had balls played into the box. There should have been another header earlier on. Here's the cross. There's the really good attacking header from Tracy. Perfect delivery, goes over the top of Bad Stubo, doesn't make a jump, and the left wing back Hector couldn't get round in time. He's more concerned how the cross came in. Joachim Löw.
She's won another header, but Leckie couldn't profit.
Good first half. Mustafi giving the ball away cheaply, caught out a couple of occasions. Wrongly got the blame, didn't he, against Algeria? But the stick came his way, playing at right back. Lahm was playing in midfield, and they just about beat Algeria in that World Cup last 16 game.
And that was his last involvement. Incidentally, because of injury, not necessarily because of choice on Löw's part. Of course, in Spain for Valencia, Mustafi. Goetze. Diane, followed by Hector, nice touch from Royce. Kept moving by Ozil. Last 90 seconds of the half, you wouldn't imagine there'd be too much of anything added on, especially in a friendly, and Royce has a corner. By Royce, chased out by Franjic. Bellarabi. Just sufficient on the clearance. Hector. Flags up. Stuart Burt on the near side.
Just about the right decision. A tight one. Right back may have just been playing him onside. Khedira, haven't seen too much of him after setting up that goal.
Khedira, Oliver's seen enough for now, and it has been an engaging fixture to this point, certainly blessed by two very, very good goals. Second of which was scored for Australia by their hero of Sydney a month or so ago. That is to say, James Troisi, feeding on a splendid cross from Nathan Burns 5 minutes before half-time. Prior to that, Germany had taken a predictable lead. Nicely taken goal from Royce, put through by Khedira. And so we reach the break, all square. Germany 1, Australia 1.